Hey, Mon Drummer, Nick Buda here. I'm going to walk you through my setup that I have out with Kenny Chesney. This is the Sun Goes Down tour this year. The kit is a Noble and Cooley kit. I've been with Noble and Cooley for 7 or 8 years or something like that, and such an incredible brand. And I don't know how many people really know about them, even beyond their snares. I was actually one of those folks until I finally heard their kits, and then somehow our worlds came together, and I'm incredibly fortunate to get to play their stuff. This particular line is the Union Series. They just came out with these a few years ago. It's a tulip wood, which is a little unusual, but it sort of provides it's a pretty soft wood, so it's kind of got a little bit of a vintage drum kind of balance to it, but still a very modern. It's cut, so the attack is still very modern. I love them. I use this kit in the studio as well. Another version of this kit, actually, the kit I had out with Kenny a couple of years ago, which was this finish on the snare right here, which you can see. But then when it came to this tour that we're doing, how cool is that? See how they burn it in there. When it came to doing this tour with Kenny this year, we're doing mostly big stadium stops. So we thought about doing another look on the same kit that I've had before with that. And I gotta mention Luis Scalzo, who's over there, who built this kit. We talked about it a bunch. We sent pictures back and forth, and then the closer we look at it, the more you see it almost looks like the galaxy when you're looking into these shells. Absolutely beautiful. It's a 16 by 22 kick. This is a 10-inch tom, which I've not actually used a 10-inch out on the road before. And so in my mind, when we were talking about it, I was thinking it would be kind of an accent drum, which is why I decided to do the concert tom vibe and not have a bottom head on it. But as I've used it, now it's incorporated in the kit, it's just a 10-inch. Now I just love using it as regular, not how I thought I was going to at all, but it works. So this is I believe it's an 8 by 12 inch nonetheless, 14, 16. Pretty standard sizes. Something about the way they build these drums means that I can get out of a 16 what a lot of people get out of an 18. They just have so much resonance to them without being too much that you never overtake. Part of it is these shells are so great. I should definitely make sure to mention this Noble and Cooley copper 6.5 by 14 snare that I'm using here. It's so beefy and cracky and thunderous and awesome. Even though I had some other options I was considering for this year, it's like how do you not have that with all that's just the gig in that snare. But anyway, I couldn't say enough about that. I know they're working on a 5 by 14 copper that they haven't actually put out yet. I'm very thankful that they sent me a demo of it that I use in the studio all the time. But the 6.5 is a big one to go for. I've been with Evans for as long as I can remember. Before they were giving anything to me, I've been playing Evans heads forever. And then I discovered these UV heads from them. I can't say enough about them. In the studio, I use UV ones on the toms because I'm not beating the hell out of them as I am out here with Kenny. But the UV twos, I mean, this is 1 or 2 shows use on them. We'll probably get 4 or 5 shows use out of each set, and then on the snares, UV ones. I wish I could get more into the technicals of it, other than to tell you they're just freaking great heads. And even though I hit the snare as hard as I can for a 2-hour show as many times, and you won't even see it wear through the middle, no denting. So tone is great. We tuned this one way down, sounds great sounding heads. On the bottom of these snares, it's the snare side 300. The bottom tom heads on these 3 are clear G1s. Kick drum head, I use the UV, the EQ4, but the UV version of that. Again, we can keep this on the whole tour and not have any issues, but I don't know how many, 6, 7, 8 shows, something like that, we'll change out the kick drum head just purely for that punch. So yeah, that's the drums and the heads. Sabian cymbals I've been with for, again, I don't even know how many years, but once I met them and once we started talking and actually hanging out, I'm so fortunate to be with that company. They're such great folks. And on this gig, I get to play a lot. Kenny allows a lot of expression and pretty much me to be me and just do whatever comes to me on whatever night. So I end up having a bunch of different colors to be able to put that out there with. This is new this year. I'm using this HHX Zen China, which is not, it's a 20 inch. It's not a very loud China, but in those moments, it's just got a really cool vibe to it. This Legacy HHX and then this Fierce HHX are both cymbals that the guys at Sabian were like, are you sure you want to be playing stadiums with such thin cymbals? Thinking that I was going to crack them pretty much every gig. And these will last. I mean, the only time I've changed out this cymbal is after about 2 years of use when it got a little warped, but it never cracked. I've had good luck with them and watch me crack one of them tonight. I just love the sound of them. I love how, again, they're not too heavy. They don't take up too much space. I can be quick with them. They're still 19s, but yeah. Splashes, because why not? Give me the opportunity to play some crazy stuff. It's going to get in there. So here we have a 10-inch AAX Air Splash. And this is a 12-inch, essentially the same thing, AAX. My influences go from Richie Haywood to Carlos Vega to Caro to whoever. And these guys all were able to use these kinds of sound, like colors and sounds in such cool ways. And I just love the fact that we have an artist here that allows me to do that, to really be me. And if it could be completely out of the style of a country artist, which I don't even see him as that. This ride, I honestly can't even really tell you what it is because it came out of their Area 51 room. You can hear here, it's hard enough. It's not just going to be washy. It's hard enough where you can really hear it. The bell's nice and solid. You can crash on it, like sort of crash on it, or just hit it really flat, stick and hard, and it fills out, but it never expands more than that. It stays within its lane. And because I mean, some of these tunes, I am really just killing it. I've used this since day one on this gig, and I love it. Plus, a little subtle thing, which I have no idea how this happened, but somehow in the tarnishing, in the finish of the cymbal, this little heart appeared out of nowhere, right underneath the prototype. So this is a 20-inch Artisan. This is the one that's going to be resilient and last through all the things. It's got a dark, to me, it's a little on the brighter side of the dark cymbal sounds. This 20-inch Ozone, I've always used Ozones in one form or another. I'll always have them around here. This 20 inches. I've thought about having a more live China over here, but to be honest, this just does the trick. It's a crash. I can play on it constantly, and again, doesn't overtake. Completely works. This is the only cymbal I've ever cracked on this gig, and it was just a hairline crack one time. But I can tell you, I beat the living hell out of these things during a gig, and they withstand it all. These effect packs, these XSR, they call them the Monarch Ozones. Just cool. Of course, I use them as accents. I use them sometimes rock on. That is what it is. And then these 15-inch Artisan hats I have used in the studio for the last 7 or 8 years. And then when I got this gig and started coming out here, I brought these, and thankfully they sent me another pair of 15s, but that is now my mainstay session setup hats. I already mentioned the side snare is also a Tulip Wood Union Series kit. That's from last year's kit. I've now started using this kit in the studio as well as my main setup, but the snare sounds so good as a deep, low-tuned snare out here, so I've just kept it out here. Yeah, I'm using a double pedal. Always pearl pedals. Just been the thing I've always loved using. I've until this gig, I hadn't used a double pedal, and I mean, since I was much younger. But there's opportunities. It's a big rocker gig, you know. I mean, it's as much of a rock gig as anything. As far as the electronic side of this gig, it looks like there's a lot, but we very rarely have any kind of tracks or loops going on. We do play with the click. With that click, there is a count off, so I don't have to think about doing anything there. Everybody, obviously, to everybody in the band, to front of house, lights, monitor, everybody hears the count off, so there's no question as when the tune's beginning. This tour is a very unusual situation, being a stadium tour, but still nothing is particularly programmed. The lights, the video crew, everybody is to some degree off the cuff from night to night. I mean, they know what they're doing, but they're not timed in with the track every night. So they all hear the count off, and then they go to work on each of their own things. So to do that, I have this trigger right here that starts the track, as I just did. And Melvin, my brilliant drum tech over here, sits back over here and gets the track all set up and ready to go for, you know, whatever the next song is. And that's essentially all this is. There's maybe 4 or 5 songs or something in a 30-song set that there are some tracks to. And those tracks are mostly either percussion, loopy kind of tracks, some big verbed out vocals sometimes. But that's it. The rest of the whole set is everything you're hearing is just coming off of this stage. And then last of all, ProMark. I've been with them a few years now. Obviously, they're in the same family as Evans being a Diodario company. At no point do I feel like 2 sticks, no matter where, it's not break sticks. I mean, I hit so hard. I go through anywhere between 2 and 4 or 5 sticks a gig, and they're never mismatched. I grab something out of here. Obviously, I'm in the middle of something. They always feel great, and they don't break because they break. It's my fault. It's my fault. I beat the living crap out of them. Love 'em.